Good afternoon. I am Odile Moffret, the Exploration Manager for Basin Energy. I know it's been a long day of presentations for you guys over there, so I'll do my best to keep this light. Today, I will talk about high-grade uranium target generation within the overlooked margins of the Athabasca Basin. The Athabasca being the focus of Basin Energy at the moment, since we have currently 3 exciting exploration assets over there. So here's a little disclaimer and statement for you. So, what makes the Athabasca Basin so special? Here's a map of the Athabasca Basin, with each dot representing a significant uranium deposit or an existing mine. The scale of these deposits in terms of resource size is highlighted by these green halos here. Look at these fantastic grades. I mean, McArthur River, 675 million pounds U3O8 at 17%. Cigar Lake, which is currently in production, has a resource size of 349 million pounds at 15.6%. The Athabasca Basin has been a proven mining jurisdiction for uranium for the past 65 years. We got a timeline here of all the significant discoveries over the past 55 years since the discovery of Rabbit Lake. What's important to note here is the Athabasca Basin continues to deliver incredible deposits, with the most significant discoveries since McArthur being the Triple R and the Arrow deposits. They are located on the southwest margin of the Athabasca Basin, so outside of the basin. There are basement-hosted deposits, and they are yielding resource size comparable to other giants in the basin. And there you have it, high-grade uranium. On the left is a classic example of Ankh-4D-style mineralization. This is the Hurricane Zone in the East Athabasca. Look at this interval, this black interval here. This is 3.5 meters at 74% U3O8. This is incredible. On the right are examples of high-grade core from Arrow and Griffin, which are basement-hosted deposits. Amazing grades as well. How can we revisit exploration models to find deposits of the future? This is the classic Athabasca exploration model. We're targeting basement conductors within the preferred geological and structural setting, vectored through data layering, including geophysical parameters. And then we drill tests to evaluate the potential for egress or ingress style mineralization. Before we delve into exploration models, I think it's important to understand the actual footprints these deposits have. Let's have a look at 2 Athabasca giants, the McArthur River deposit and the Arrow deposit. Arrow, strike length of close to 1,000 meters, has a mineralization going down to depth of 980 meters below surface with a width of 350 meters. McArthur, strike length of 2,700 meters with width averaging 50 to 120 meters for the main pods. Let's have a look at 2 smaller footprints, the Griffin deposit and the Triple R deposits. So the smaller footprints, but also, as you can see, another like completely different morphologies here. So in here we have a stack of mineralized lenses, Griffin having a strike length of 610 meters, and Triple R is characterized by spread out ore bodies, with the main ore body having a strike length of 800 meters and much smaller satellite ore lenses as well. So the discovery of Triple R deposits, and especially Arrow in 2014, kind of shook the traditional models for the Athabasca explorationists. So what were the lessons learned from this? 1, mineralization can be hosted in rocks other than metasediments. 2, mineralization is entirely controlled by a major fault system. 3, the grade of the mineralization was very comparable to those Ankh-4D deposits. And 4, basement mineralization can have a down dip of more than 900 meters below surface. This is just insane. So there are some key elements adding to the explorability of the Athabasca margins. A lot of these lands was vastly overlooked while the focus was on Ankh-Frommedi model exploration. This is a map of the current mineral tenures of the Athabasca Basin. All of the tenures you see here on the southwest and on the southeast of the southeast margins of the basin are uranium companies, all of them. This was not the case 10 years ago, prior to the discovery of Arrow and post-Fukushima times. The map was a lot different back then. Another thing to keep in mind is erosion has reduced the size and the thickness of the present-day Athabasca. So this opens up the explorability to two deposit styles: pure basement-hosted deposits and remnants of basement-hosted Ankh-Frommedi-related deposits. Additionally, the Arrow discovery has demonstrated that a huge amount of graphite were not needed to precipitate uranium. This warrants reviewing historical exploration data and adjust the ranking of traditional geophysical targets. Finally, the primary exploration vector in these regions are faults. The faults will act as mineralizing fluid conduits and locus for fluid rock interactions. I will say this over and over and over again. It is all about structures in this part of the Athabasca, or outside of the Athabasca. Understanding the structural framework of a project is paramount. Okay, so key exploration vectors for basement-hosted deposits. What do we need? We need a complex structural system. We need lithological rheology contrast. We know the basement alteration halos are what we expect to host uranium mineralization with argillization, chlorite, and so on. And we also know that graphite does not necessarily function as a direct reducing agent, but more of a mechanical role in the fault formation and reactivation. So let's just keep in mind, trying to find the appropriate exploration methods to apply to a project on the outskirts of the basin. So what do we need to do? First of all, diligent regional historical assessment data compilation, primordial. Then regional geophysics will help defining the large-scale structures that we are looking for. This can be helped with airborne magnetics or airborne EM. Then regional or project superficial data collection, such as airborne radiometrics or gravity and ground prospecting or geochem survey, can help define prospective areas of uranium-bearing fluids. Then project ground geophysics can narrow down large anomalies location if required. Ultimately, drilling allows to test, validate, or fail to validate the models. And constant reevaluation of these models is so necessary. Now, I'm going to present how we apply that integrated systematic exploration approach on our Geikie project in Canada. Quick overview. Geikie, 340 kilometers square of land holding, located 7 kilometers southeast of the present edge of the Athabasca Basin, where the project is adjacent to the recent GMZ and Akio discovery from 92E and baseload. Our target here, shallow basement-hosted uranium mineralization. There has been some historical exploration done on the property in the past, which consisted mostly of base metal exploration. And there was also several uranium showings that were discovered at that time with grades in the 0.2% U3 rate. So the first layer of modern high-resolution data that we acquired for Geikie was airborne magnetic and radiometrics. The survey highlighted 2 new major north-south trending fault systems that are important in the formation of some uranium deposits in the Athabasca region. And these faults are called Taberner. The survey also highlighted some radiometric anomalies that were also identified across the project. Then we did some ground prospecting to investigate radiometric anomalies and historical showings. Boots on the ground, we were building geological knowledge at a prospect scale. Grand. Then we flew an airborne EM survey, which identified a regionally significant conductive trends and areas of structural complexity where the conductor is transected by key regional magnetic structure. So you see in here, so these are the EM plates. And in this area that we call the Preston Creek prospect that we like a lot, you can see that there is a major north-south mag lineament in here, mag fault, that is transecting that area. And that is creating that bend in the conductor and splays in the conductor. So this is really, really interesting. And then we did the first pass drilling program. So we drilled 8 holes for 2,200 meters, focusing on these zones of structural disruptions. The photographs here are just an example of the scale of the hydrothermal alteration that we intersected within these complex fault zones during the drilling program. I mean, look at these structures, look at these breccias, these gouges. There's so many stages of reactivation that we can see just on these structures. And look at the alteration that is seeping through these structures. It's beautiful. Assays returned anomalous uranium in 4 of the 8 drill holes, with the highest grade being 0.27% U3O8 over 0.5 meters. Sure, it's not aero, it's not aero grades or aero width, it's not GMZ, but this is a start. Drilling highlighted at Geeky a complex reactivated structural system up to 30 meters in thickness for these faults, and an hydrothermal alteration system going along these faults. Drilling has demonstrated that we have the structures, we have the fluid circulating along these structures, and that there is uranium in the system. So we decided to stop the drilling and use airborne gravity to map alteration at the project scale. It's a big project. I mean, look at the footprint of the Arrow deposit here, which is 1,000 meters in strike length. And look at the size of the Geeky project. It's huge. There were large gravity low anomalies, which are represented here by these black circles on the map. And most of these gravity anomalies are coincident with key magnetic structures that we've highlighted with previous magnetic surveys. And these key magnetic structures are highlighted with this gray line here. So this is quite exciting too. And another thing that is quite exciting is that there's a succession of gravity anomaly lows in here in the vicinity of the drill hole Geeky-02, which returned that 0.27% U3O8. So the modeling of these anomalies is in progress. The priority ranking of the gravity targets for drill target generation will be dependent on the ongoing modeling of the gravity data. We are gearing up for an immediate follow-up drilling program in Q1 2024. To summarize activities on our Geeky project, we've done a systematic approach to high-quality data layering that was integrated to our exploration workflow. So this has led to efficient target definition, with our main focus being zones of structural disruption across an EM conductor and or gravity low anomaly. So this is our main target. We have identified during our first pass drilling a fertile system showing large-scale complex structures vectoring the right fluids. So all I will have to say for now is stay tuned for the next round of drilling. Thank you for your time.